Tuesday, August 29th, 9:10 a.m. in Maui, Hawaii, and we have a new transit. We have gate 40, which is deliverance or aloneness in the ego, in the sun, and we have gate 37, family, friendship in the earth. And so one thing that's really particular about this transit is that this is a transit in which the sun and the earth actually create the channel itself. So something that I'm going to do that we don't normally get to do is look at the sun and earth in opposition of each other, look at them in collaboration of each other, and we're going to read about the connection here, which is the 3740. So the channel of community links the solar plexus center to the heart center through the gate of friendship, which is 37 in the solar plexus, and the gate of aloneness, which is gate 40 in the heart or the ego. The community lies at the heart of humanity's successful evolution. The organic nature of transition point of it provides between the struggle to survive and liberation from that struggle. It is subject to the push and pull of the emotional wave. Gate 40 is willing to work to provide for those it loves, but it needs rewards and it needs rest. Gate 37, with its gifts of affection, is always looking for recognition and its place within the whole. So we are dealing again with to me, it's a very special transit, especially because and the emotions are probably the two most shitted on centers, in the sense that people are always trying to kill their egos, and that they're always trying to suppress their emotions so that other people can like them. Conditionally speaking, not saying you guys are doing that, but that's again makes sense, because these are two of the motor centers and an awareness center, right? And then the heart also has a lot of, even though it's not technically an identity center, if you think about the interrelatedness between the heart chakra, G center, well, the heart or the ego is just like the extension of the identity in a way. So I spent a good chunk of my life trying to kill my ego. I spent a lot of time trying to kill my ego too, because that's what I thought I was supposed to do. I thought that made me more spiritual and humble and shit. It turned out just made me an asshole, to myself mostly. And so let's go ahead and let's keep reading about this channel of community, because this is going to be active for everybody during this transit. And check and see if you check on your app to see, or your body graph to see if you have any of that. Like if you have the 37 or the 40, I don't have any of it. So this is something that's going to be kind of foreign to me, even though I love community. And maybe it's like, I'm already anticipating, just with some of the keynotes that I've picked up in here, like it's going to be a good time for this Discord in, what is it? Providing points between the struggle to survive and liberation from that struggle, right? It's, yeah, so anyone that has the 3740 channel, let us know in the chat here. And so let's keep reading about this one. So in the background, we have the channel of community. The tribal bargain is backed by the energy of two powerful motors that give it depth through clarity over time. So again, emotional center, clarity over time. The willpower to succeed. In community, the bargains must be entered into correctly, strategy and authority. The bond of community or family, and the way the bond will manifest in the future, is guaranteed by the willpower in the bargain, which is the ego. The alignment of the ego in the solar plexus also means that no good bargain can be struck spontaneously and must be carefully considered and formulated over time to be equally beneficial for both parties. Channel 3740 is an opposition in the mandala, and so is quite common. And it has tremendous. The channel 3740 is an opposition in the and so is quite common. I see. A lot of people have this channel, because whoever is born during this time automatically has this channel. It has tremendous evolutionary influence worldwide during this present Earth cycle. 1615 through 2027, where we all have felt its impact under the right angle cross of planning, community by way of planning. Prana, maybe you could answer this regarding the Rave Mandala. Does that change in 2027? Like, do we have like a new Rave Mandala or something like that? No. Okay. So it's just, but it's just contextually speaking, like the big wheel that would be like the sidereal calendar that shifts from cross of planning into this new, like, what is that? Like almost 400-year cycle. Sphinx. Okay. I'm just gonna drink my tea while Prana drops the lowdown on us. Because a lot of people, Sleeping Phoenix is the next global cross. Oh, I see. So we're moving into the Sphinx same time. We need to do a whole show on that. Next time, let's do another AMA. I mean, if you want to go again this Thursday, that seems out. That works for me. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, if we do it at the same time, that works out for me. But anyway, let's get back to this. So personal. If defined by channel 3740, you are waiting to see who asks you to be a part of their organization or community or not. You are also trying to discover where you belong or how you fit in to the big picture spiritually. The correct invitation won't come through impersonal contact, though, like a phone call, but rather from some form of touch or direct personal contact over a period of time. In the most basic sense, every human being is existentially alone, and yet, for practical purposes, you are the one who forms the bridge for individuals to live in a community where all have honored place and respected function. You understand the importance of making a good bargain and how to seal that bargain. I'll do this for you if you'll do that for me. Let's shake on it or sign here. So, with this being in the transit, there's always an interesting, like, for me at least, like, oh cool, this energy is active, so how can I like utilize the energy that's here without like becoming too dependent on it, or putting myself into a situation where this energy is going to be expected of me. um this energy is going to be expected of me in the future. So we have no support of bargains after 2027. Infrastructure is Oh, that's really interesting. Is that because something has to do with this particular channel no longer being relevant or active? I wonder what that's about. I guess I will just figure it out when 2027 I try to make a. There we go. Let's get you up. This is a good one. I've been waiting for some of the transits to be like this. Is it working there, Prana? We might have to, sometimes that we have issues with the mobile devices. And it's time to pour the tea. So if you wait too long with pouring the tea gets really bitter. It's not good. It also gets cold, and it's also not good. So let's see. Oh, Shaolin Luke is here. I like a bitter tea. Nah. I like that perfectly brewed tea. But okay, so we'll come back to this whole thing. So in my transit chart, 37 is filled in. So that is only today. Is that for everyone? Yes. In my birth chart, it's not defined. Correct. Okay. So, all right, Nathan, let's fuck. Yeah, let's maybe try leaving, and sometimes I'll just like actually like close out the app. There we go. It's got it. So interpersonal. It is a strong, and then here, let me try and you. So it is a strong, acceptable, and clear bargain is needed if the channel of community, the channel of marriage bond, is to hold the provider and distributor together in a harmonious relationship. On this side of the ego circuit, The way to a man's heart is through his stomach, not his wallet. Ha! On the emotional social side of the body graph, support is expressed not by things money can buy, but by what it takes to work side by side and to progress communally. Investment is focused not on stocks and bonds, but on each other and on the group. This is the highest ideal of community, and there is little evidence of hierarchy. No one feels superior or inferior because everyone willingly contributes what they can in order to be included and to feel supported by a loyal, and no one feels superior or inferior because everybody willingly contributes what they can in order to be included and to feel supported by and loyal to a group greater than themselves. Yeah. So yeah, 4037 it's active for everybody right now. But again, this is a transit, so it's like it's not going to stick unless you're a baby being born between now and like Saturday. This is not necessarily a part of your body graph. So again, it means that these energies are going to be present, and you might be aware of this like part seeking a whole, or this awareness of these this energy. Again, especially if you don't have it, like it will be extra on, but it doesn't mean that, again, now you're an emotional authority being, or now you have a defined heart and you got the, I get to call it the what's it, the CO2 or the NOS button in Fast and Furious, like turn it on, the willpower to do this stuff. It's like it's just but a shimmer of rippling in the pond. Hey, we did it. All right, so let's backtrack to that was actually a good breaking point, because I went to the whole channel of community in the circuitry phase of it. But we were talking about, maybe let's hit this. You said no support. Actually, let's go to the part where you talk about the cross into Sleeping Phoenix being the next global cross, and us currently being in this cross of planning.
Right. So the global cycle that we're going through from 1615 to 2027 has to do with, like this precession movement, which is like a extra wheel outside of our mandala moving in the opposite direction, and it's keyed off of the gates of the G center. So when those gates line up with different gates from our mandala, it creates this different background frequency. And the one that we've been in has been this cross of planning, which is all about support for the community, the scientific details and infrastructure that we have, the bargains that we've made to further our communities by saying that, I'll do this so that you can have time to do this, right? I'll take care of the clothes and the food. You go out and, make some artwork, build some temples, right? Well, everything gets built on each other based on this infrastructure and bargain, right? Everyone can rely on other people to have their backs so they can spend their time doing other things. And that's been like a global emphasis that we've been going through, with the support of everyone feeling that pressure to have this kind of pressure to build infrastructure for communities. And after 2027, that's going to be gone. It's going to shift to the Sleeping Phoenix cross, which is, 3/4 individual. It's the 2034, 50, 59, and the 55. So it's going to be an incredibly selfish time. Everyone's going to be out for themselves, and there's going to be less emphasis and focus on the support and the infrastructure needed to maintain societies and cultures.
So basically, like governments and like large, what I'm sensing is like the larger stability of infrastructures, like governments and certain nonprofit organizations. Those ultimately have reached like the maximum corruption point, is what I'm actually literally seeing in the world, and into this Sleeping Phoenix, right? It's because I see it, in a way as like these smaller communities and smaller tribes, because you actually care about the people, like your family and the people that are important to you. So in a way, it's like the larger infrastructures and the larger bargains are going to fall apart, and those are going to give way to the like the people that you actually care about, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty exciting. Awesome. Because it's so funny because there's part of me that's like, how are we going to escape the tyranny that is forming? And one of the Buckminster Fuller quotes that I really like is, you don't fight a system by fighting the system. You create a new system that makes the obsolete. And that's exactly what I'm seeing. I'm seeing so many people doing like homesteading and like buy a property with like your 5 best friends and build like your own infrastructure. And ultimately it's this liberation from the larger bargains that really don't have much in it for us because they're too homogenized in a lot of ways. They're serving too many people, and so they can't necessarily serve everyone effectively. And we're in the death throes of that. Like we've only got 23, 4, 5, 6, 7. We only got like 4 more years till this 2027 Sleeping Phoenix crosses happens. And a lot can happen in those 4 years. It'll be interesting to make some predictions about what exactly is going to happen. We have an AMA on that. So, all right. Well, let's see. I did have, well, you kind of answered it already. Rana, that was awesome. Thank you for that. Shall we move to the, you have anything else you want to share on that topic, bro?
Not unless there's another specific question.
Okay. He says another presidential. Oh, we do have one more, like the last president. Ooh, that's really interesting. That's so interesting. Which would make this current president the second to last president. Oh, I've had that thought. I was like, what happens if, Trump or whoever is in office decides to just like end the whole presidency thing? Because it's really like a pony show, right? It's like the president makes a lot of moves, but it's like the intelligence agencies and all of that, which gets the energy taken off of it because there's like a president to blame everything on, as opposed to all these intelligence agencies that are actually, and businesses and corporations that are like running the show in behind there. And so with like, Nathan, I'm curious about your take on this. And I guess maybe the last time this happened, do you know what cross we were in back in like 1615, or when was it before we came into the cross of planning? Do you know which one we were in?
Let me take a look.
Because I'm curious if we could look at.
Yeah, it was before the cross of planning. It was the cross of consciousness.
Oh.
64, 63, 535.
So what was going on at?
Well, that was like all around the Enlightenment, right? The pressure to answer all these questions.
That's when like a lot of the sciences and stuff were established then.
Yeah, exactly.
Like alchemy and all that stuff comes from that. That was what, post 1615?
That's right. I got a graph somewhere I'll post in the Discord of like all the different epochs we've gone through and the crosses and their time frames.
That would be sweet. I freaking love infographics so much, man. It's just like, and then with the app, so we got a new feature on the app that I'm so stoked about. Me and Luke have been wanting this for a while, where you can actually view the hexagrams in the body graph, which is so freaking cool for us kung fu guys, because we those hexagrams are actually like moves for us. And so now we're able to actually like look at the body graph, and like we could just create a whole form just by looking at a body graph, which is so nuts. Which maybe I said a little too much. Now everyone's gonna want to be like, everyone's gonna be like, wait, what's my form? But it's okay. Luke will be a teacher soon, and everyone can like actually be kung fu and Shaolin disciples. So that's me though. That's my 3-5 moving through that. So 3 years, Luke. What the fuck, bro? I'm like always pushing him to like sooner. Okay, so let's move into the part where we actually talk about the transits. So we have gate 40 deliverance. This is in the ego. This is the point of transition between struggle and liberation. And we're in the first line, which is recuperation. It's the ability to relax and enjoy the fruits of one's labors. The ego strength to enjoy being alone. And then the detriment is the moon that cannot stand still. The ego uncomfortable with being alone for too long. So with the transit here, again, there's a choice of like enjoying being alone or recognizing the uncomfortability of being alone. And one thing that I always say, is it's like, it's okay to know where you want to go, but it's more important to know where you're at. And are we only in an exaltation of this? So what does that mean?
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. So what does
Look at
that
the
mean
app.
then? Yeah, I'm looking at the app right now. So does that mean then that or I guess that would mean like for a being that's born, right? They're going to be just in that their ego is just going to be strengthened from being alone, so they'll need, ample amount of alone time regardless if they're a hermit or whatever. But what does that mean for the rest of us?
Yeah, well, the fixing planet for the exaltation is the sun, and it's the sun here. So we get the fixation into the exaltation, which means there's no energy coming from the detriment. It's only the exaltation while the sun is there.
Got it. So the whole like being like uncomfortable with being alone too long is kind of like not necessarily an energy that we're going to feel. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, unless I don't know if you see in the book what the detriment fixing planet is.
It's the moon.
The moon, yeah. So if the moon enters gate 40 while we're here, then we'll get the detriment. Or 37.
Okay. I see. I had never known how any of that makes. So basically, it's like when we're in this line, if it's in the sun, then it fixes the exaltation of it, which tomorrow is like that too. And if the moon also goes into that line, if it also goes into gate 40, then it fixes the detriment.
That's right. So then when we have a fixation in exaltation and detriment, that's what's called a juxtaposition where both are fixed. If there's no fixation at all, there's no triangles and it can fluctuate back and forth.
And that would be the neutrinos, the actual frequency fluctuating back and forth in terms of whether it's exalted or detriment, not necessarily our experience of it.
Well, both. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, that would definitely like affect us. If it's an exaltation, we're more likely to experience the exaltation of it. Although I feel like some people's nervous systems are calibrated in a way where it's like if something good, like a 40 in the exaltation is coming at them, that their nervous systems might be like, no, I have to, like, I can't be alone. It's, so it really depends on the vessel that is absorbing it and its ability to be attuned to the environment or the neutrinos or whatever it is that's hitting it or that's affecting it in a way. Some people are so attached to their conditioning, like it can be comical at times. But that's like what comics make most, how like fixed they are and think about it. They're teasing themselves, making fun of themselves, money for making. It's like the typical comedian that's like making fun of the fact that he's fat, and then he can never become unfat, because if he becomes unfat, then he's just undermined his entire career. That's so interesting. Okay, well, let's see. Anything to say about gate 40 and the sun then, Nathan, before we move to 37?
No.
Cool. Yeah, it's funny because I'm like, how much time do we actually spend on transits, even though they're like so important, right? Because there's like a, how you say, an obsession that can come, especially for like, I think, reflectors, with the transits and using the transits to help us define ourselves. That and Ronan actually made a video and she posted it on TikTok, which I'm so proud of her, because I told her to just post. I'm just telling everyone to post stuff on TikTok, because there's like a whole new generation, Gen Z, that's there and that needs relevant information. And it's different than Instagram. But she was talking about the difference between using human design to define yourself and using human design to describe yourself. And I thought that was a really beautiful distinction because, with the definition, you fuse things together, right? And it becomes mutually exclusive of this is that and that is this. But with a description, it's like I could have a description of a thing, you could have a description of a thing, Ronan could have a description of a thing, and we're all talking about the same thing, but we can like layer our descriptions or our experiences on top of it. And I think, again, that's kind of what's happening, or one of my intentions that I get really excited about, or I feel really surprised in some ways, that it's like people are fulfilling the intention here when someone is like asks a question and then 4 or 5 people chime in, and it's all like, pieces of this puzzle that get put together without necessarily the pressure of like completing it or figuring it all out, so much as it's just like, hey, let's just relate and be together. Oh, what's up, Luke? Oh, do you want to
Hey,
you got the I Ching, you got that poetry for
I do.
recording? Yeah, baby. Yeah, this is a good
All
one.
right,
I got all
let's
three.
hit
I got all
forward.
3 of us here. This is tight.
All right, let's go. Yeah, I just got back to my parents' house before I go to Kung Fu. I'm doing a pre-test tonight, y'all. Hype me up. Let's go.
Let's go, Luke. Black belt, 6th degree.
Third. Whoa.
No, 6. We got to jump you forward in the timeline so we can get
Oh,
everyone
God.
trained up in Kung Fu, dog. What are you talking about?
Oh, okay, so we're in Deliverance, yeah? Give the sun, gate 40. Yeah? So, let's see here. Let's go with the judgment. So, Deliverance, the Southwest furthers. If there is no longer anything where one has to go, return brings good fortune. If there is still something where one has to go, hastening brings good fortune. This refers to time in which tensions and complications begin to be eased. At such times, we ought to make our way back to ordinary conditions as soon as possible. This is the meaning of the Southwest, which is really funny because I'm in the Southwest of the United States right now. These periods of sudden change have great importance.
Right.
Just as rain relieves atmospheric tension, making all the buds burst open, so a time of deliverance from burdensome pressure has a liberating and stimulating effect on life. One thing is important, however. In such times, we must not overdo our triumph. The point is not to push on farther than is necessary. Returning to the regular order of life as soon as deliverance is achieved brings good fortune. If there are any residual matters that ought to be attended to, it should be done as quickly as possible so that a clean sweep is made and no retardations occur. Them's the facts. This is super relevant for me right now. The
Yeah,
image.
come home, bro.
I'm coming home. I just gotta finish.
I know.
I got 2 knots to tie up, and I'm ready. The image. Thunder and rain set in. Oh God, which is, bro. I literally was at the hot springs playing my flute that has like thunder and lightning like infused on it, and it starts thundering and rain starts pouring. And this is the fucking. Of course, this is the gate that we're in. So thunder and rain set in. The image of deliverance. Thus, the superior man pardons mistakes and forgives misdeeds. A thunderstorm has the effect of clearing the air. The superior man produces a similar effect when dealing with mistakes and sins of men that induce a condition of tension. Through clarity, he brings deliverance. However, when failings come to light, he does not dwell on them. He simply passes over mistakes, the unintentional transgressions, just as thunder dies away. He forgives misdeeds, the intentional transgressions, just as water washes everything clean. Wow, I'm blown away. Okay, keep going. So 6 at the beginning means without blame. In keeping with the situation, few words are needed. The hindrance is past, deliverance has come. One recuperates in peace and keeps still. This is the right thing to do in times when difficulties have been overcome. That's it. Am I still here with y'all?
Yeah, we're here.
Cool. Wow. This is potency right here.
Yeah.
I like this thought that the deliverance, it's this gate of work, of work for the family, of obligation. And this first line is its whole foundation is about recuperation. Right? The foundation of this is that you need to have your rest.
Right, because it's a yin line and the first line, so it's broken. So yeah, there needs time for rest to then get to the next line, which is the yang line, right?
Mm. God, I love all this.
One recuperates in peace and keeps still. That's the investigative line.
So, assignment today for everyone to spend at least minimum 5 minutes resting and recuperating your energy.
That's right.
It's gonna get real. It's gonna get real. And Angel mentioned as you were talking about the image and the hurricane, about these hurricanes that are headed for Florida, and also some like insanity with like diesel fuel getting mixed up with regular fuel. That's just like it's what I was saying is like the death throes of the cross of planning and the infrastructure and the powers that be is like we're in that like that thrashing that's going on. And so send prayers up to people out in Florida, and Angel and your people. Pray that you guys are kept safe during all the turmoil and that you guys are guided. I trust that you are.
100%.
Yeah, our heart's going to be with you, because the same thing that happened on Maui, and it's the same thing that's happening out in I forget where exactly in Canada, but there's fires in Canada that are, again, there's darkness is exposing itself, or the thing that's dying is trying to prevent its own death. And with that, it's like even more important for us, especially with this line, to really recuperate our own energy and not be drawn too far outward into areas where we can't really do anything. Like say your prayers, right, and then tend to your sheep, tend to your flock. And that's something that is I personally cannot get enough reminders of, because I always want to like help everybody, but I recognize that sometimes all I can do is just take care of the people that are on my property or in my home. And so and not just take care of them, like make sure they're healthy and safe, but also like love up on them and give them attention and remind them how much I love them, because at any moment any of all of them be taken away from me. So
Exactly.
yeah, wow, this is hot transit, guys. Hot tea.
Hot transit, hot tea. Can't wait to
All
drink Puer.
I know, bro. I got a whole fresh cake ready for you, bro.
Let's go.
All right, gate 37, family friendship. In the solar plexus, the manifestation macro and microcosmically of the organic nature of communities. Line 1, the mother/father, a position of inherent respect that ensures a focus for the development of guidelines. Exaltation in is that Venus? Now I know what that is. It's relevant to me, which we do not have an exaltation. It will be polarized, but actually, no, it's not. Okay, here we go. Harmony is the key to successful maintenance of relationships. It is only through harmony that the beauty and values of the family can endure. Friendship that is rooted in sensitivity and ensures harmony. No polarity, no planet in detriment. Today is a great day. And if you don't think so, then yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Someone just left. Like, oh, okay.
You're like, all right, I'm over it. Today's not a good day for them.
Overly positive day, but okay. So
well, one of the things to watch out for, with this transit is being it all about bargains. There's a lot of pressure to make or step into bargains. So check in with your inner authority, make sure those are the right bargains for you, and that you're not being had.
It's really good, because today, with pre-testing and going to Kung Fu today, my master just went to talk to his masters, my other masters, about my instructor training. So that's a good thing to hear. It's like knowing what's a good bargain, what's not a good bargain. Because I got two kind of bargains that I'm heading into today, and I know what's good and what's not good, and know which one to go, which opportunity to take, could be one that I'm like, this is Closed chapter.
I gotta close this bargain right here.
Yep.
Oh gosh. Okay. I love it. I love it. Well, I believe in you. I'm so excited. And yeah, so let's I wanted to say, I totally forgot what I wanted to say. I wanted to say something about the, because I've been feeling that, and I've been feeling that since like the past 2 or 3 days. There's been a part of me that's been really alive to like wanting to form alliances. Nathan, I put something on your plate. I had a session with a woman who does or meat suit lessons. Who she's not here right now, but she does business like analysis and things like that. And I kind of like opened a door or introduced her to like the whole Penta thing, and didn't necessarily try and strike a bargain, but I feel that so alive within me right now, like wanting to create these bargains. And so it's a good reminder to watch out for that, because they're so good natured, but ultimately it's like if all of this were to come to pass that I put out there, I would be stretched so thin, and I already feel stretched pretty thin in a lot of ways. That being said, I am protected by my 28-day cycle, because I have not, I make that a part of my bargain of like, hey, I'm gonna write out this cycle on it, and then I'll check back in. Or if you're bringing me the bargain, you check back in on me, because I'm not gonna check in on you. That's not what the cycle is for. Bargain to me. So to people, that's on me to check in with them. So anyway, with that being said, let's get the I Ching, huh?
Yeah. Let's go straight to judgment. So we've got the fire below the wind. So the judgment is the family. The perseverance of the woman furthers. The foundation of the family is the relationship between husband and wife. The tie that holds the family together lies in the loyalty and perseverance of the wife. Her place is within the second line, while that of the husband is without fifth line. It is in accord with the great laws of nature that husband and wife take their proper places. Within the family, a strong authority is needed. This is represented by the parents. If the father is really a father and the son a son, if the elder brother fulfills his position and the younger fulfills his, if the husband is really a husband and the wife a wife, then the relationship is in order. When the family is in order, all the social relationships of mankind will be in order. 3 of the 5 social relationships are to be found within the family: that between father and son, which is the relation of love; that between husband and wife, which is the relation of chaste conduct; and that between elder and younger brother, which is the relation of correctness. The loving reverence of the son is then carried over to the prince in the form of faithfulness to duty. The affection and correctness of behavior existing between the 2 brothers are extended to a friend in the form of loyalty, and to a person of superior rank in the form of deference. The family is society in embryo. It is the native soil on which performance of moral duty is made easy through natural affection, so that within a small circle a basis of moral practice is created. And this is later widened to include human relationships in general. Wow. So that's a judgment. You guys got anything to add in there before we go on?
Yeah, it's kind of a like reverence and respect for roles, right?
Yeah, exactly. The roles and how they play. And Angel, to answer your question, it says, while that of the husband is without fifth line.
Say it again, Luke.
Let me read that whole sentence again. So the tie that holds the family together lies in the loyalty and perseverance of the wife. Her place is within second line, while that of the husband is without fifth line. And second line and fifth line are in parentheses, so it kind of is above my head. I don't know what that necessarily means.
So like the husband's energy is without the heretical energy, what we say?
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
The fifth line is called love.
The fifth line is called love.
Yeah.
So the husband is without love.
Dragon, I think like with this, the takeaway is like how these roles show up in your own life, not necessarily directly like, well, I'm the husband and this is my wife and she's the wife and I'm the older brother and this is the younger brother. It's like, how do I show up in my different relationships and which position do I take in those relationships?
Oh, I got it. So, Life Force, thank you for that projection, expecting in a way that it's like one of the natural tendencies for a husband to feel a lack of is appreciation or love. And similarly with the mother, their lack in terms of the roles is hermit, like they never get time alone. And so part of the roles, this is just my like souping and stringing it all together, is like
Mhm.
part of our roles, if we're not the husband, is to make sure that the husband feels loved, and if we're not the mother, it's to make sure that the mother gets her own time, because that's the things that they're without. Maybe that's definitely
Ooh, that
relevant, but
makes sense.
I don't know if exactly that's what they were talking about. So, but
That does make sense.
but yeah, just I mean, in general, family dynamics. That I mean, in my family at least, that is literally what I'm endeavoring to do. Um, yeah.
Cool. Ready for the image?
Yeah.
The image. Wind comes forth from fire, the image of the family. Thus, the superior man has substance in his words and duration in his way of life. Heat creates energy. This is signified by the wind stirred up by the fire and issuing forth from it. This represents influence working from within outward. The same thing is needed in the regulation of the family. Here, too, the influence on others must proceed from one's own person. In order to be capable of producing such an influence, one's words must have power, and this they can have only if they are based on something real, just as flame depends on its fuel. Words have influence only when they are pertinent and clearly related to definite circumstances. General discourses and admonitions have no effect whatsoever. Furthermore, the words must be supported by one's entire conduct, just as the wind is made effective by its duration. Only firm and consistent conduct will make such an impression on others that they can adapt and conform to it. If words and conduct are not in accord and not consistent, they will have no effect. So to me, it's like I get this image of like having a fire, and instead of putting more wood on the fire to keep it burning, you're just like spraying lighter fluid on it. So the lighter fluid's not going to have substance. It's not going to last long. It'll burn up and then go away. So it's the same thing as like having a committed word, like using your word to make your commitments. It's like, I'm going to keep adding fuel to this fire. I'm going to keep showing up for it. It's not just going to be the lighter fluid. Like I'm going to follow up with actions, essentially is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
That I'm getting from the image of this. Uncle Iroh, not Jet.
Yeah, I love that so much. Like in terms of, and that's actually a really interesting one, because in terms of like revolution, there's two ways you could hit the revolution like Jet is or Jet was, and just try to like blow stuff up, or you could play the long game and gather up your forces for the right time to strike when everything is in line, and hit it like Uncle Iroh did rather than Jet.
That's so good.
That's a good one. Maybe he's I'm actually gonna make that right now so we can go in there. Have we read the first line yet, or that was the image,
Not
right?
yet. That was the image. Yeah, I'll go ahead and read the first line. So 9 at the beginning means firm seclusion within the family. Remorse disappears. The family must form a well-defined unit within which each member knows his place. From the beginning, each child must be accustomed to firmly established rules of order before ever its will is directed to other things. If we begin too late to enforce order, when the will of the child has already been overindulged, the winds and passions, grown stronger with the years, offer resistance and give cause for remorse. If we insist on order from the outset, occasions for remorse may arise. In general social life, these are unavoidable, but the remorse always disappears again and everything rights itself. For there is nothing more easily avoided and more difficult to carry through than breaking a child's will.
Damn.
Interesting. Probably
Okay.
got anything on this?
the only other thing is that this is part of the tribal stream of touch, right? How the tribe communicates is through touch. Handshakes, hugs, right? How you touch your children, husband and wife touches each other.
Mm. I
There's
see that
there's
like
also
from the
saying something about
beginning.
food. Sorry, go
What's
ahead,
that?
Luke. No, go ahead, Luke.
I was like, from the beginning, each child must be accustomed to firmly established rules of order before ever its will is directed to other things. So, like establishing the touch and the love early on, so that the child will like know what love and affection can be like.
Yeah, that makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense. There's also a little interesting kind of like play on numbers here regarding the Tibetan tradition is for the woman to have 40 days of aloneness just with the baby, in order to get that imprinting. And yeah, we did that with our baby, and definitely, I feel it was such a good for the child and for us. But my baby is a manifester, and she's got that defined solar plexus. So I guess in a way, it's like it makes so much sense, the correlation between these two, because it's one that if you like do what I do, you have that mentality. I would say of the child is much harder to break because you're not necessarily a living example. It's just like you're imposing all these different rules.
Mm. Mhm.
And then yeah, the healing touch thing makes a lot of sense as well. I was um, in reading the part about the channel, it talks about like this side of the tribal network is more about food than money. And so, for instance, one of the ways that we can transmute touch is to like lovingly create food and feed our children. And that then can foster loyalty just as much as, a pat on the back or like holding the child or getting that time together. Because, again, it's like, when we get food, depending on where we get it from and where the food comes from, it's charged up with all of this energy from transit and from other people touching the food, and maybe someone's pissed off, or maybe someone's even sick and they sneeze on the food and they're like, whatever, I don't give a shit. They just throw the broccoli up there. And so in a way, the food that we create for our children is also going to be helping to set a standard for what quality of food goes into us. Ellis is making food together as well. Like, that is awesome. And 40 is the stomach and 37 is the esophagus.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny because you're kind of like talking about food and everything right now. This is like going ahead to the second line. That's where it starts to talk about food more, which is interesting.
Yep, dorsal ganglia is 37. Which I have to look that up because I have no idea what that is.
Dorsal ganglia.
Oh, it's in the spinal root. Conveying sensory stimulus, including pain, touch, vibration, proprioception, and temperature from the peripheral nervous system to the central nervous system. Now you got me curious. 'Cause, again, it's like all these pieces of the puzzle just kind of like come together in a real way. And they mean a lot, but they also
Super confusing.
super confusing magic. I don't have the esophagus here.
Well, my dear friends, I'm gonna go spend some time with my family before I do my kung fu. Spend the rest of my day doing that. So I was really
Excellent,
glad I
my
could
brother.
jump on here. Marco, I'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully see some of
Yeah.
you guys very soon again back in the hut back home at the Hale.
Yeah. Later, Luke.
Okay.
Love you, bro.
Love
Yeah.
you. Bye.
Bye. Well, I think now is it seems like a good time to call it too. We're in this new transit, and we're in it together for for the first time for me. I've never done, you know, reading the transits with a group of people. And, for a long time I was like, oh yeah, I could like have a master class and I could, like charge people to be a part of this, like, community thing where we read the transits together. And something about me knew like I wasn't going to get the people that I wanted to be with. Like I would get paid, but I wouldn't necessarily enjoy it. And I'm so happy that I listened to myself, because in creating this, Discord, it's like everyone who's here is supposed to be here. And, I didn't put a paywall because ultimately, it's just with the internet and it's so hard to know sometimes, if someone is like legit and their heart is in it, or if they're just really good at marketing and wanting to make a buck. So the fact that y'all are showing up here of your own accord, and participating in it just means a whole lot to me. Like y'all have become like such a sweet community, and motivating me in this way that I've never been motivated before to create better content. Like after this, I'm gonna do a little bit of stretching, and then I'm going to drop into making some videos for the neutrino design, to basically help people kind of navigate it, because there's so much in there that it can be overwhelming at times. And so with that, mahalo, thank you guys for being here. Prana, thank you for taking the time to tune in. And big love to you guys, and we'll see you tomorrow. Ciao.